Hello and welcome. My name is Miriam. I'm a family therapist. This video is about the tricky issue of children and sleep. And sleep is a tricky issue, not just because sleep in itself is complex, but also because when we as parents are called to deal with our children's sleep difficulties, we are ourselves exhausted. It's either towards the end of the day when we've spent hours of caring for them and of working, and now we are exhausted and we want our time on our own and we want them in bed. Or when they wake up in the middle of the night, they wake us up and disturb our own sleep. That's not easy. So it's not easy to be our best when our children need us around sleep issues, but there are lots of ideas here that are going to be helpful to you. So I'm going to suggest them, and I'm going to invite you to see what suits your family, what you can adjust and modify to suit your family. Obviously, no two families are the same, and I don't know you. And so I may be a little bit of an expert on families and on sleep and children, but you're the expert on your own family. So I'm inviting you to consider what's right for you and put it in place. The video is concentrating on children from about 3.5 to 4 years old until they're pre-teens. Some of the ideas are applicable for younger or older children, but this is more or less where I'm pitching this. And I'm going to have 4 main topics that I'm going to cover. The first 2 I'm going to cover in this video, and they are about understanding sleep, understanding children, understanding family dynamics around sleep. So that's going to help you put yourself in the right frame of mind to deal with these sleep issues that you may have. And then I'm going to talk about children who find it difficult to fall asleep. So this is the topic of the first video, and on the second one I'm going to talk about children who wake up in the middle of the night for whatever reason and wake us up. Then I'm going to talk about children who just are ready for the day early in the morning, bright and happy, and wake you up hours before you're ready for them. So that's going to be the second video. So now a few understandings about sleep and children in general. And the first one that was really helpful for me to get was that sleep is the situation where all animals and human are the most vulnerable. And for many years of our history, families and tribes used to sleep together. And the idea of a child in their own bedroom with the light out and the door shut, just sleeping, is quite new, relatively. It doesn't mean that I'm inviting everybody to buy a big bed and sleep all in it together, of course not. But what I'm saying is that it's not natural, it's not what children usually want or need in the earlier years of their lives. They would rather have company when they go to sleep. And if we want them to sleep on their own bedroom, which is fair enough, we need to work for it. We need to expect it to take time. If we are one of the lucky ones who just have it easy, that's great. If you're one of these people, you're not watching this video even. But for most of us, it means that we need to slowly help them get into this habit and acquire this habit themselves. Now, the same way we don't expect them to provide for themselves financially, it's ridiculous, or cook their own food, we shouldn't expect them to just go to sleep and be okay with it. It's something they need to learn, it's something that takes time, and it's something we will need to invest in. Next point, related point, is that children can't just decide to go to sleep and choose to do it the same way I'm choosing to wave my arm right now. They can't just make themselves sleep. They need to first be tired, then they need to feel safe, to feel calm, to feel comfortable, and gradually their brain, their body-mind system helps them drift into this state of sleep. If they can't sleep, it's not necessarily because they want attention, they may, but it's not necessarily because they want attention or they want to annoy you or they're spoiled or they're immature. It means that they haven't learned these habits yet. So please don't blame them, help them. The next point to consider is about our own abilities as parents. Now, parents are very different in how much energy and patience they've got when they're tired or in the middle of the night. Some people are much better in the evening than others. Some people are okay in the evening, but try to wake them up at night and they become little monsters like me, or big monsters actually. And you want to think about what's easier and what's more difficult for you, and same about your partner if you have one, and work on it as a team and divide the task between the two of you according to your strengths and weaknesses. And don't beat yourself up if you are not that great in the evening, for example, when you're really, really tired. That's okay. You just need to think what you can do in order to not get to this situation too much. So work any solutions realistically around what you can do and you cannot do. And don't be upset with yourself if there's some things that are just not your strength. Work around them. My last point is that your children can be your best sleep consultants. Talk to them. Talk to them, ask them what will help them, what do they need, what bothers them, what's difficult for them, what you could do to help them, what anybody can do to help them. What are their ideas, and take them into account. So when I say talk to them, I mean find a neutral time, find a different time that's not around sleep time, that they are in a good mood and that you can talk to them and ask them all these questions and say to them that things are not going that great lately, and do they have any ideas of what could be helpful and what it is that they need. You may hear things that are going to surprise you, and children, when they feel listened to and accepted rather than being told off, and when they don't feel that you're just disappointed of them, then there's much more of a chance that they're going to consider these things and come up with some solutions. And if they tell you that they don't know and they really can't think about it, just tell them to take a guess or give them some time and say that you're going to ask them the next day. Don't pressurize them. They probably never thought about it, but let them think about it and come up with whatever ideas they've got. Even if they've got no ideas at all, just the fact that you're interested and that you are looking for their ideas and appreciating their input in itself, just that in itself can be really helpful. Now we're ready for practical strategies around going to sleep. And the first point to consider is your own state of mind in the evening. Are you completely exhausted, tired, and unable to respond in any logical or commonsensical way? If that's the situation, think what you could do during the day to maybe have a little bit of a rest from time to time, to maybe lower your standards. What could you do so that you don't get to the evening so tired? Again, if you're with a partner, you may want to take turns about who does what in what day and whose responsibility is what and when. All kinds of ideas that you can put into place about having it a little bit easier on yourself during the day, including getting extended family to help, getting paid help, whatever you can do, not get to the evening in such a state. And the other thing that actually quite surprised me when I started working with families was that lots of parents wait for the children to sleep in order for them to have their evening meal together, for the parents to have the evening meal. And so during this bedtime routine, they're both tired and they're also very hungry. They're starving and they're thinking, well, I just want them in bed now because I want my food. That is a recipe for disaster. It's better for you to either eat with the children and have your couple time, quiet time later after they're asleep, no food involved, or you can have a little snack beforehand so that you're not starving, but no way that you can tackle this when you are hungry yourself. My next point is about the natural sleep and wake up cycle that all humans have, including children. We are biologically programmed to sleep at night and to be wake up during the day. But a lot of things can interfere with it, and children who've got sleep difficulties often have the cycle interfered with. What will really help is to make sure that they're exposed to daylight every day. I'm recording this after a week of really bad weather here in the UK. Not really bad, but quite gloomy and grey and raining. And also at the time where the COVID pandemic is on and lots of children are either at home, not going to school at all and having their studies online or with their parents, or going to school very part-time. And so when there's no structure and no school and the weather isn't great, it's very easy to think, oh well, let's just stay at home, what's the point? But what happens is that children don't get enough daylight, and then comes the night, it's very, very difficult for them to sleep because their cycle's been interfered with. So as much as possible, you want to go at least once outdoors and do something outside so that their body gets the daylight exposure that's needed. And that will also help with the level of activity, because another sign of this cycle is that you're active during the day and you're not active at night. So the more activity you do during the day, the better. The other side of it is that you want to darken their bedroom at night. Again, now it's summer, the days are very long, the sun may be out, 9 o'clock even, it's still light, and why would they want to sleep? So curtains, blinds, try to have darkness in the room. There's another element that you need to take into consideration about light, and that's the blue light that comes from screens. It comes from our TV, and it comes from the screens they use to play their video games. And research is showing that this blue light inhibits the release of the melatonin hormone, which is the sleep hormone. So at least, let's say, an hour and a half, 2 hours before they go to sleep, no screens, and instead have books and old-fashioned games. But screens just before bedtime is a big problem for lots of children. And then you want to ask yourself, am I putting them to bed too early? Are they tired? Because if they're not tired, it's going to be really hard for them to sleep. And a lot of the times when parents agree to postpone the whole routine of bedtime a little bit, it takes less time and it's much, much easier. So that's about our natural sleep and wake up cycle and how we want to work with it. Next point is about bedtime routine. Now, I bet you've got some routine in place already. So most families will have dinner, maybe a bath, story, a hug, and then you leave. Now, I presume that's not really working for you, because otherwise you wouldn't be listening. And so you want to look at this routine and consider it and see if it needs to be adjusted somehow. So first of all, if you look at dinner, what are they eating? If they're eating sugars, like having a dessert or a snack or something sweet, like a treat after dinner, and also if their dinner is composed mostly of carbohydrates that are not complex, like white bread or potatoes or white rice or pasta, if that's the majority of their food, then don't be surprised that they're going to have lots of energy, because this is the kind of food that releases quite a lot of energy quite quickly. So you don't want to give them energy and then expect them to go to sleep. Better to give them vegetables, to give them more proteins, or a balanced meal that will take longer time to digest, and that their blood sugar is going to gradually go up, if at all. Then you continue to look at your routine and you think, is there anything about what they do night after night to interrupt this routine? So it could be something like always asking for some water, always needing to go to the loo, or trying to tell you stories about the day and entertain you and make you laugh so that you don't go, or go after you've gone with us little stories. So if this is what's happening in your home, just incorporate all these elements into your routine. So a part of your routine could be getting a glass of water or a bottle of water, putting it to their bed, making sure they go to the loo, allowing some time for them to tell you their story and entertain you. All these things, incorporate them into the routine. And another good thing to incorporate into a routine, if you are not doing it already, is a little bit of a reflection time about what you like about them, what you appreciate about their behavior, what you enjoyed doing today with them. So you can say like 3 positive things that happened today, and 3 positive things for your child maybe to say about what they appreciate and what they like today. And then it's going to be a good thing to send them to sleep with this positivity in mind. So look at your bedtime routine. That's my invitation. The next point is about helping children calm down and feel safe and cozy and comfortable. As I said in the beginning of the video, it's not natural for children to be there on their own, so they need to feel really, really safe, and they need to feel really calm in order to drift into sleep. And there are all kinds of things you can do to help them. One of them is get a sibling if they've got one. And if there are 2 or 3 siblings that want to sleep together or are okay to sleep together, I think that's a really good idea. Even if they've got their own bedroom, they may want to sleep in each other's room, and I think that could be encouraged because that will help both of them calm down. They may chat a little bit and play around and fool around a little bit, but it will also help them calm down once this is out of the way. And when they are asleep at night, they will have another living soul next to them, and that could be really helpful. Just consider that. Again, I don't know your family, see if it's right for you. And similarly, some of them, if they have a pet, if you have a cat and you allow that cat to go to their bed, or in our case, in our family, it was a hamster. And I was very skeptical about it because hamsters are nocturnal animals. They are very noisy at night. And I thought, how on earth can that help anybody sleep better? But it can, because for my children, having something there in the room that was alive at night was really helpful. So just a thought. Obviously, there are lots of other considerations about having a pet, and you shouldn't get a pet just because you think it's going to help your child to sleep. But I'm just floating this idea. What else helps? Recording stories for them in your own voice so they can hear you when you're not in the room. Recording relaxation procedures for them, helping them breathe slowly and deeply and relax their body and relax themselves into sleep. Getting some tracks from iTunes or somewhere else about children relaxing and going to sleep. There are quite a few of them out there. You can pick one that you like together with your child. Having a soft toy, having your picture around, having something of yours with them, all these things can help ground them and can help them feel calmer and connected to you, even if you're not in the room with them. If your children are old enough to read, let them read a book and drift into sleep with a book that's going to entertain them and keep them safe, and slowly get them into this stage where they can just drift to sleep, because reading, especially when they're young, is quite an effort. If they continue to read, that's also okay. They're going to become good readers. It's a great bonus, no problem at all. But if your child's really anxious and they don't want to read, and all these ideas that I gave before aren't enough, you want to be there and stay with them for as much as you can and help them fall asleep, and then you leave the room. So don't sneak out. When you talk to them, explain to them that you're going to stay there to help them fall asleep, and then you're going to leave and tell them where you're going to be. Now, there's a video that I've made about anxiety in children. I'm going to link to it here. And you want to help them deal with their anxiety during the day. So whatever it is that they're anxious about, you want them to talk about it, to draw it, to play it. There are all kinds of ideas about how to deal with anxiety generally. But if they do need you at night, I believe you should be there and help them fall asleep, then go. Another question that I'm asked quite often is about having children in your own bedroom or in your bed. Some psychologists and therapists are completely against it. I'm not completely against it. I think it's something for you to consider. There are pros and cons. The pros are very obvious, is that your child's going to be calmer and they're going to fall asleep. It's not great for your couple life, and it's not easy sometimes to wean children off it. So if you decide to do it, you just say to your children that you're doing it temporarily, and in advance you tell them that slowly they will need to move out, and certainly out of your bed. It's better to have them in your bedroom on a little mattress beside you, and then put it next to the door and then out of the door and then back to their bedroom, if this is what you're choosing to do. So either if you're in their bedroom or you're taking them to your bedroom, you want to make clear that that is a temporary solution to when they're anxious, and the safer they feel, they need to go back to their bedroom for everybody's sake. The last point that I want to make is about attention. Lots of parents tell me that the children are out of the room again and again just because they want attention. And yeah, some children really just want attention. And the reason they want attention is because they need it. Children need attention. They need our attention. Now, obviously, nighttime and bedtime isn't the right time for attention. So this is what you want to explore in conversations with them, and explain to them that you love them, you'd love to give them attention, but at night you are too tired, you're not going to give them good attention, it's not going to work. What can help them stay in bed at night so that in the morning, immediately in the morning, when you are going to have the energy because they gave you this time for yourself and you could sleep properly and have the time for yourself that's needed, you're going to have the energy to play with them and do something with them. So it could be morning after a good night routine, play fight, pillow fight, any board game, anything that's about attention between you and them is going to be really great. The last thing you want to do when your children seek attention at night is shout at them and be angry with them, because anger and shouting is attention, and it's high energy attention, and lots of children get hooked on it. I mean, it is negative attention, but still, when you shout, when they wake you up, you've got all this energy in you, they feel they're important. You care about them because they made you so angry. They get hooked on it. You don't really want that cycle to start. So instead of being angry, just be tired and bored, which is what you are also. It is boring and it is tiring. And just tell them, nah, I'm not interested now. I'm asleep. Too late. Say as little as you can. And all the explanations need to happen during the day when you're preparing for this routine. So this is it. Loads and loads of ideas for you. If you like any of this, if you've heard anything that you think is important or useful for you, please share with your friends, put it on social media, like, subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see you in the next video where I'm going to talk about children waking up in the middle of the night or early in the morning. Try it. Let me know how you're doing in the comments below. Thank you very much. Enjoy your children. See you next time.